What is up, guys? Zach here from the Chaos Galaxy, and today I finally got round to doing the results for my designer card contest 2020. There were originally going to be 4, but I'm now going to be choosing 5 winners to have their limited edition homemade cards in set 4 of the Chaos Galaxy TCG, so that's really exciting. Before I get into it, if you want to get your hands on some Chaos Galaxy packs, there'll be a link to this online store in the description below. You can get all the different Chaos Galaxy cards. There'll also be a link to the brand new merch store in the description below to get some of that swag. And yeah, I'll get on to the contest. So, oh my god, the amount of entries I got for this contest, it took me forever to go through them. I think it might be a while until I host another one of these contests because it's just so time consuming. Like, I pretty much could have finished set 4. It's amazing that I got so many entries though. Like, I mean, that was a good thing. Hopefully I got back to everyone on email. I got over 800 emails, so there will be a few where I may have accidentally forgotten to reply or accidentally skipped through, but hopefully I replied to everyone who entered, and I've got about 175 entries that were like really good and I want to shout out, and then obviously the 5 winners, so 180 like honorable mentions and stuff in total. So I'll reveal 3 of the 5 winners at the end of this video, and I'll go through half of the honourable mentions, and then in part 2 we'll go through the rest. So also I want to thank everyone who entered. Don't get disheartened if you didn't win. Like I said, 800 entries and only 5 winners. You've got like a 1 in 150 chance of winning, less than that even. So yeah, please don't get disheartened. Even if you didn't get an honourable mention, only about 1 in 5 entries actually did get one. So yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, I'm going to go through all these sick entries that I got. And even if you didn't win, like, so much of these cards that I've seen are going to inspire future cards for the game that it's just so good to see. And yeah, you've all helped out whether you get a shout out or not. So first up, shout out, got the winners here, I'll go through later. Alex Whitaker came up with this really cool Zikelon, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, archetype. Loads of these really kind of terrifying spacey creatures. Really, really good stuff. And that art style I think is worth its own TCG in its own right. So thank you, Alex. We've then got, this message keeps coming up, it's really annoying. We've got One Short Boy with Planet Virus. Really cool, like clean computer done art, which is great to see. We then, I love this one, Adam Nugent with Dimmy Orgos, the creator, and just look at how many different creatures are. You got Omnius, Sinza, Trangel, Shozy, and Larp. There's just stuff from everything in here. Really, a lot of work went into this, Adam. Well done. And then this notice is really annoying. Adam, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Magnetic Mirage. I won't read out abilities, unfortunately, because this would take ages forever, but if you want to see some of these cool abilities, then feel free to pause the video. But love that kind of space station with Crunch on. Definitely could do some bits with the lore for this card. Adman65 with Mismatched Map. This is really cool. I love the kind of fantasy style map. Galaxy Bang by Aether TCG. If you haven't checked out his game Astronomica TCG, it's really, really cool. I've shouted it out on the channel before, and this artwork was sick. We then have Unexpected Reaction from Al Argento. I love this guy. I love Professor Stash, PhD. Very cool. And a really interesting ability as well, if you want to read that one. Aled Booty with Cyberspace Serpent. Sorry, let me just flip it. It was a really strong entry. So well drawn with this like mechanical bit inside. Alexandre Coelho with a Slushy Zone Muncher. This was really cool. A really balanced ability that I can see putting into the game. It's like a Slush Infestation, but for in activator form for a turn, if you want to read that ability at the top there. Oh yeah, all the abilities of cards are in kind of the title here. This was Aaron Gray. Big shout out to Aaron Gray, one of the commentators for the Galaxy Madness tournament. Really cool artwork of Dare warping into a Wild Wing there. I love this art style, the cartoony style of Armin Feroz. Cranchon's delinquent nephew, Bryce, really funny. If you don't know, there's an ongoing joke that because you can't see Cranchon's bottom half in his artwork, there's a theory that he's actually riding a pogo stick. Then, this is mad. If you're not a professional artist, then there's something wrong with the world, but art by Lovi with Space Sword Gladiator, it was really cool. B. Adrian, I didn't know your full name, but from Moldova, you gave me loads of really cool entries with some sick artworks. Unfortunately, you didn't give them like names or abilities, so I couldn't really choose them to win. But thank you anyway, that art's really cool. This one, Ben Crooker, Armor to Scale. This was really cool. The ability was great. Definitely could make a cool card like this, where the attached creature's power and health are rounded to the nearest 100, so could be good, could be bad. This one, again from Ben Crooker, he had such solid entries. Stark Eater was a Syndian creature. And I like the sound. Love the thought of this like Star Warrior with his cool armor and like the belt and the mace at the top. Really nice stuff there. This was Benjamin Takamo. He had a few good entries that kind of nearly won. This is Business Bat, if you can see the picture there. Some really balanced abilities as well. Another one from Benjamin, the Floating Thief Mountain, a really cool Gaios card, just like a really abstract artwork that I absolutely love. And then another one, this card actually very nearly won, Dirty Tricks. I love the artwork so much, a very like Sindel looking resource card, which is something I normally struggle to make, but definitely going to make some kind of Witch's Cauldron based off this at some point. Then we have Bespoderoy, I think, with some cool creatures here. I definitely think Ginger Plant Salvo is my favourite of these, but really cool stuff. We then have Blitzkarelg with Boulder Golem. This is a really cool entry, even though it's such like a simple art style. I really love the colour, like the colour palette you've used in this card. Ghost Boat with a pretty abstract card, but had a really good ability to do with barrow creatures. Braden McDonald with this really cool Yeti character. I need to do like a Yeti type card for Polysium, definitely. Then Braden McDonald again with a Rabid Boulder Dragon. I like how it looks kind of just like Boulder Dragon, but you turn it green and it looks a really different card, so that's cool. Brennan McWright entered quite a few cards. A lot of those are really good, but this Storm Warrior was my favourite. We then have C0LD or Cold, who entered so many cards. Some really awesome ones, and I hope he's going to be making his own TCG if he doesn't already, because some of these entries were complete quality. Like, there were just so many of this kind of Sirith the Guardian is the card's name, but just so many of this standard that was so good. We then have Card Boss 15 with his Neutrinos card. Love the kind of sciencey aspect. That's something I really try and bring in the game loads, so this is a really fun twist on it. We then have Catty CC with Bird's Nest, a really cool like Roka looking card with some like birdie characters in a tree. Love that. Then Calvin Aylin. This card really nearly won as well. He came up with this whole cool archetype of like these jellyfish creatures. Unfortunately, I wasn't really looking for a whole archetype to win the contest, but they had some really good abilities. This card, Angellifish Algae, let you look at your opponent's hand and like killed creatures with the same name as creatures on their planet, which I think would be a really good ability and balanced for the game. Then some of the other Angellifish Fuzzy and Angellifish Helix. These were really cool archetypes, so well done, Calvin. We then had Chaos Duelist, an unlikely duo, a cool way of kind of combining weak creatures to make them stronger. Love this art style as well from Charlie Esker, really cool card. I'd definitely love to see like a TCG or maybe even a comic. I think would look cool in this art style. So Morphean was this little guy here. Then Christoph Fulmer, he had quite a few entries, and this kind of turtle character was my favourite one of his, although he did enter a lot more, which were all great. Then Colin Dunn from Cards of Creation TCG. If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, his game is pretty cool. And this card, Interplanetary Ooze, is like a taster of what his art brings, which is really unique. We then had Cringe Keen, which was a Mystical Beast of the Lava Hole, like a Shios equivalent to Mystical Beast of the Deep. Really cool. Cy Blair, he actually submitted quite a few entries, and this Siblid Strider was my favourite. 4-star creature that kind of eats your opponent's creatures when they're killed, and he gains power and health for them. Really creepy card, but can definitely work well for the planet Sindel. Cyrus Ward, I love the lighting that he's managed to put on this Dwarf Star Dragon's creature. Again, love the space theme, and like, yeah, I don't know what he's used to get the lighting. I certainly can't do any art like this, but really, really cool. And would love to see again a trading card game in this style. Dakano enters the contest every year, and his entries are so strong. I feel really bad for not choosing him as a winner, but there's just so many people to choose from. Galgar, the Geomech Guardian, is so cool. And I'd just love to see a whole TCG made by Dakano, because he's been doing these contests like constantly for like 4 years. That's how long I've been running them. And yeah, they're just so unique and such cool cards every time. They just stick in my head whenever I see them. It's great. We then have Daniel Urchai with this really cool, I can tell you put a lot of work into the colouring and stuff on this permanent resource, Chaos Expedition. Interesting ability, and love the way you can kind of see the planets in the sky. Then David Eaton. This card's really abstract, but I love it. I don't know why. Volatile Energy. The ability was really balanced too, if you want to read it. But really cool card there, David. Love kind of the weird look of it. So unique. We then have Dominic Gruels here with Stormibooga. Really interesting take on Bogabooga. I haven't thought of making a Bogabooga card for the Planet Roka, but it would work well. He made quite a few entries and loved this little template he's got going on, really put the effort in, and an interesting way to boost the Bogabooger archetype. Like I say, he did enter quite a few more entries, but that was my favourite of his. We then have Garv hit this entry. I think it was done on Word, but it came through a bit weirdly. But you're going to have to turn sideways to see it. But Crystal Phantom here, I just love the use of colour he's done with it. So no planet card, which lets you bring out Omnius straight from your deck, which is really cool. Not sure I'd add something that powerful to the game, but really cool entry nonetheless. We then have Derreal Deal, very good player in the competitive side of the game and very good artist, which I didn't know. Sweet Deals was this really interesting card that lets you pay stars to draw cards as a permanent resource, and then when it's killed, you kind of lose all those stars again. So we got Star Dealer here doing some of his dodgy deals, selling you KOs and things. Really fun idea for a card and definitely could fit into the lore well. Dimension TCG, he entered quite a few cards, and Endon the Bridge Guardian here was my favourite of those. Also this one here, really creepy, the Dark One. Almost too creepy I think to put in the game, but really cool entry nonetheless. Okay, next up, I'm not sure why this came through in a different order, but another entry from Dominic Guru La Lumiere. This card is so funny, I can't find the original file of it, but basically it was a resource card that said, kill one of your opponent's zoned cards, or if you cannot, you get to throw a box at your opponent's head, which just really made me laugh. Obviously, don't think I can put that kind of ability in the game, but yeah, really, definitely, probably the entry that stood out the most to me when I was going through all these, which is great. Dominic Herbert here with Krazer or Krazer. This was a really good card. Just that artwork is terrifying, and it had a really good ability too, actually. A 5-star Pelisium creature that lets you kill your opponent's Pelisium creatures. So if they've bought something back by like Phantom Matter or a card like that, really good way to counter that, and definitely going to put something like that in the game in future. We then have Domo, who had some really sick entries and art styles. He made this archetype of like brain cards, the brainery archetype, and this one, Hydra Lens, was my favourite. Really cool, like 3D style, and yeah, very talented artist there, Domo. Pharaoh the Wolf, he entered quite a few cards. This one was my favourite. Skeleton Warrior from Who Knows Where. Here's another one of his entries. Servant of Omnius, like a really cool kind of retro-looking statue. And oh no, sorry, this one was my favourite by Pharaoh the Wolf. Shosian Volcano Guard. I love the body proportions of him. His huge shoulders and arms, but then his tiny little legs and his head. Really, really fun-looking character there. Then got Foodmeister with Brightbug, really cute artwork. I don't make enough cute cards for the game anymore. Definitely want to put some more in like this. Then Gabriel Ehrman. He entered so many cards that were all so cool, but he had this like goblin archetype, and the faces of them are so simple, but they just have so much personality. I think they'd fit really well in a game like Little Dudes with kind of more simple art style, but I just love this kind of art. This is exactly what gets me going when I'm thinking of exciting art. Just these cool characters that look at, like, the colour in that is amazing. So big well done to Gabriel Ehrman. We then have Garv Evas or Evis, Galactic Blacksmith, which is really cool. The Galacti weapons, this doubles all their power and health. I would have had this win, although I actually have big plans for the Galacti cards in set 4 anyway, so unfortunately Garv, it didn't make the cut. But yeah, little sneak peek to set 4 there almost. We've then got Georgie, who entered a load of cards. Really cool use of colour again, and this card, Magmazy, was my favourite. Just a nice little weak Shios creature with interesting stats for a Shios card, but then its ability gives him more health, so thank you, Georgie, for that. I forgot that Georgie Stiov was his name, and he actually entered loads of cards. He made this really sick archetype called the Beast Band archetype. We have Bull Shark on keyboard. This one, Orphea, was on the lute. No, that's not a lute. I can't remember that instrument anyway, the little like medieval one. And then their kind of permanent resource support card was Beast Band Stage, which I love, just like a little floating space stage, picturing a shark performing on it. Really cool stuff. A lot of other good entries from Georgie as well. Palma Grizzly. This was, I think, the best drawn one in my opinion. This showed off Georgie's skills best. But he made some really good Pelisium cards. I think this is terrifying. Pelisium is Georgie's forte, definitely, but really hope he makes a TCG because he had so many of these entries. Look, another sick Pelisium card that I'd just love to see in a TCG myself. So big shout out to Georgie Stoev. We then have Gothic Cyclops. I love the perspective on this card. Like, you really get like a 3D feel when you look at it. Like, really puts you on edge. There's this creepy monster in the hole, and then you're getting stared down by all these creatures. That's, yeah, the power of perspective in drawing is really, really important. It's something I need to get better at. Hasman Marsh, he did quite a few entries as well. This is Fearos, very cool dinosaur-looking creature from the planet Chios. Another one of his entries, Gardenier the Slippery. Really cool looking. Oh, actually, it's a no planet. I was going to say it's a cool looking like Gaios or Roka card. We then have Wholeworm. Wholeworm came second in Galaxy Madness, the big tournament, so huge shout out to him for that. And then some really well thought out cards here. Chaos Shapeshifter, I think just a bit too much text in the ability, it'd be a bit too complicated to put in the game. Obviously, I know you're quite an advanced player, but I think slightly too complicated. And Cosmos, the Planet Designer, love that name for a card. Secret Weapons here, this was my favourite one, sorry. When one of your creatures gets attacked, it's an activator that lets you just suddenly play down an attachment to protect your creature. A really interesting way of kind of having attachments become activators, which would be really cool to see in a game. And then Zeta Ray Hydrathor. Really want to make some more Zeta Ray and Nano Ray cards because they're one of my favourite archetypes and one of the fan base's favourite archetypes, but they're just not that competitive. Then Jack Newell, he sent me like 4 or 5 entries too. This was my favourite, Ember Gob. Love that name. And although the stats aren't great, which I think kind of suit the picture of the card, it has a really interesting ability that cancels the next resource card that's played, so lets you take control of the game that way. Then Jack Riker with this terrifying Vine Viper from the planet Gaios that can reduce your opponent's health. Then James Falk. Oh man. James Falk again. He enters every year and his entries are always sick. As soon as I see an email from him, I'm like, oh damn, we've got a good card here. He's done really well in the contest before, and my favourite one of this entry was Copycat. Really interesting ability there. He had this card, Gargantua Blow, very like anime looking, really, really cool art style. How you can just make like a sword going into the ground, looks so explosive and amazing, is really good talent of yours, James. And then the final honourable mention before I get into the winners is Jeffrey Siemens with Revival Egg. This, you know how in like horror, like space films and alien films and stuff, kind of insects are always like, they have really creepy eggs and they just kind of put you on edge. That's what this artwork did to me. We've got an Underwood burrower here in like this really creepy embryo type thing being reborn, and that's the ability of the card, lets you cosplay killed creatures. So they're all the honourable mentions. Thanks, Jeffrey, for that. And I'll get on to the first 3 winners in part 1 of this designer card contest. So with these winning cards, unfortunately, because they're in set 4 and I haven't actually shown any set 4 cards yet, there will probably be quite a while between you winning and receiving your kind of fully made card and the set 4 pack, which is the prize for this contest. But the first winner is, I'm pleased to announce, is Truant, designed by C0LD. This card embodies exactly what I want to do with Gaios in set 4. 360 power and 170 health for a 6-star. So really interesting stats. It can attack for 4 points, but also can be killed quite easily, which is a weakness. And its ability reads, is when your opponent kills this creature, you get to change the power and health of one of your 3-star or lower Gaios creatures to 360 and 170. So you get to give a weak Gaios creature this guy's stats when he's killed. Something really interesting, and what I want to do is have Gaios be like a good standalone planet once set 4 is out. Because right now, they've got really good cards in the Night Jungle archetype, but they're not too great as a standalone planet. So Truant's just going to hopefully solidify them as a good planet. And yeah, sick artwork. I love all kind of the elements of like stone, grass, like tribal beings within Gaios' jungles. Just really sums up the planet Gaios as a card, and yeah, the direction I want to take the planet in set 4. So well done, C0LD. If you want to email me, and also if anyone of these winners wants to change the name on their card, just let me know, and I'm just using the email addresses that were sent. So well done, COLD. The next winner we have is Aromatic Scent by David Candea Onissi. I hope I pronounced that right. I saw this image and was like, whoa, this is a really cool card. And I love the way it's done in pencil crayon. A really different art style to what I do, but that's what I wanted in the game. I want this kind of range of what all you guys can do with your art. Aromatic Scent's a really fun card. It's an attachment card, and at the end of each of your turns, the attached creature's owner gains 1 point. But then after 5 turns, you kill the attached creature. So you can't gain more than 5 points from this card. In all honesty, you probably won't gain that many anyway, because most creatures in the game are killed after like 2 or 3 turns. So you'll get a few points off this, and this is really good because I want point ability decks to become a thing in set 4. I think it's really fun, like having this weird deck that where like your aim is not to actually attack your opponent and win that way. You gain points through abilities like the card Point, and Aromatic Scent is a really fun but balanced, kind of slowly working card that you could combo around, play around with, and have a lot of fun with. So Aromatic Scent, really interesting artwork and a cool ability. So well done, David or David. And the final winner we have for part 1 of the video, I'll announce the next 2 winners in part 2. So don't worry if you haven't won any of these, is Hammerhead Sharkling by Derreal Deal. Derreal Deal, really active on the Chaos Galaxy Discord, knows a lot about the game, and Pelisium is the only planet that actually didn't have a limited edition card so far, so it made sense that I chose one for the winner of this video. And the ability, the artwork's so cool as well. I like that it's done on the computer and it looks really different to my artwork but still fits the game well. Its ability is sick too. So if it's killed by the ability of the planet card Pelisium, you add a different 2 or lower star Pelisium creature to your hand that was killed but not this turn. So you can't kind of loop it on forever like some recycling cards. But what I like about this is that it promotes you using the planet card Pelisium. Because the planet card Pelisium, its ability isn't used very widely. It's a cool planet ability but I think I'd love to make more use out of it. So Hammerhead Sharkling is kind of the perfect motivation to do that, because you'll be recycling one of your weaker Pelisium cards, which is great. So Hammerhead Sharkling by Derreal Deal is the final winner for part 1. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be coming very soon. Big congratulations for the winners. If you want to email me, then when set 4 is finally out, probably at the end of this year, I'll send you your packs and your well-deserved limited edition cards that you've made yourself. And congratulations to you 3 guys. You're now officially a part of the Chaos Galaxy. So very big well done. If you haven't won, don't get disheartened, because there'll be just as many shout outs and the other 2 winners in my next video, so stay tuned for that. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thanks again to everyone who entered, honestly. It means so much looking through all these cards. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.